Are you feeling like you're consistently being taken advantage of? And no matter how much you do for other people, it's never enough. And as you try to somehow do everything that everyone else wants you to do, you're starting to feel drained and exhausted. But what would life look like if you did anything possible, even if it's small steps, to no longer allow others to take advantage of you and actually put yourself first? I know it's an interesting question, right? And I know for me, it still is, and it was for a long time. But in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 easy steps that you can take to begin the journey of prioritizing yourself and no longer allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. And I know that this might sound, to those of us who are people pleasers and want to make everybody else happy, this may sound impossible, but I can tell you that it isn't. And I know that because, just sharing a little bit of a story before I get into those 3 steps, I was a chronic people pleaser most of my life. And all I wanted to do was make sure that everybody around me was doing well, that they were happy, they were getting what they needed. And that meant, honestly, consistently doing things that, even if they were draining, I would do them. Even if I didn't want to, I would do them. Even if someone was not very nice to me or was consistently using me for something, the thought of standing up for myself and denying that access or those services or those things that I wanted to do was petrifying, because I didn't want anyone to be upset at me. I didn't want anyone to feel like I was not being a good person to them, and my own happiness was just never a priority. I didn't even think about it. It wasn't until I started my healing journey and started therapy that I understood that it's okay for me to prioritize myself. And it's okay for you to prioritize yourself as well. It is your birthright to do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. I share that just to let you know that there are things that you can do to get yourself to begin that journey of no longer being taken advantage of. Let's get right into it. Step number 1 is set clear boundaries. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the idea of setting boundaries, right? And I want to clarify that setting boundaries does not mean that you are expecting someone else to do what you want them to do in order to make you happy or make you not feel used, etc. Setting clear boundaries is understanding that and being able to communicate that you expect respect, expect not to be taken for granted, and that if that happens, there are consequences that you are going to put into place in order to protect yourself and put yourself first. Okay, so an example of that is start saying no to certain things that you usually say yes to even though you don't want to. Whether that's doing favors for people or saying yes to an invite or consistently agreeing to go to places and do things that you really just don't want to do. And that when you're doing them, they completely drain your energy. You get home exhausted and you're wondering, why the heck did I decide to do that? I knew I didn't want to go. Right? That's a small step that you can take and that is powerful. And it might feel difficult in the moment, but the more you do it, the easier and the more natural it'll feel. Step number 2 is focus on the things that you enjoy and that you want to do. When you have a balance of, yes, doing for others, which there's nothing wrong with that. This is not a video telling you, F everybody else, don't do anything for anybody, don't give a shit about anybody else. That's not what I'm saying. For those of us who are people pleasers, we are people of service. We want to take care of others and do things for other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong with only doing that and doing nothing for yourself. So that's when the problem comes in, and that's when we drain ourselves. That's when you can feel completely taken advantage of because you're not getting anything back. You're just putting out. It's a weird phrase, but you guys know what I mean. And so focus on doing things that you want to do and that you enjoy and that you need. Even if it's, doing a hobby that you enjoy or some self-care activities, right? Whether that's whatever, getting a massage, going swimming, meditating, going for a walk with your dog. Ensuring that there's a balance between what you want to do and what you're doing for others. And step number 3 is get rid of the guilt. Oof. As soon as we start putting boundaries, with others, especially those who are really used to us always saying yes and always being there for them, there's this immense guilt that you will feel, or that you already feel. And that's really difficult to deal with. And that feeling of guilt will stop you from actually setting those boundaries and ensuring that you're not taken advantage of. Because suddenly the feeling is, am I being a bad person? Am I being a bad friend? Am I being a bad family member? I should just say yes. I should help, right? It's the right thing to do. All of those things will start coming through your mind, and you'll end up doing things that you don't want to do because of that guilt. And again, the focus is, yes, you can do all those things for other people, but the important thing is that you do things for yourself as well, right? It's finding that balance. And when that guilt kicks in, please understand that it is just because this is how you're built. This is how you've been conditioned. This is what you've been used to doing your entire life, right? And so as soon as you change that and put up a boundary, understand that, yes, you can help others, but you also need some time for you, your body's going to react, and you're going to feel guilt. You're going to feel a little bit of anxiety and worry about how they're going to think or how they're going to react, right? And some people might react in a certain way, but that's okay. It's about finding that balance where you can do for others, but also ensure that you're doing for you first, because that will really change the trajectory of being taken advantage of, right? It will no longer be as easy for others to do that because you're focusing on you. That's what I wanted to share in these 3 steps. It's that shift of focusing on you and making sure that you're nurturing yourself before you go and do for others. If this has resonated with you and you want to learn a little bit more, then watch this next video where I dive deep into the actual process of setting boundaries in a healthy way that will help stop allowing others to take advantage of you. Thanks so much. See you in the next video.